Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
Liberty, the missing 4-year-old. The parents have called the advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her, they've been yelling for her.
Turn it over to another agency. Let's get some help.
Where are your kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say? You're over here in Hawaii? Chad, where are Lori's kids?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here for another ATS live stream. Just going to check with chat to make sure that everyone can hear me okay. Good morning to all my moderators. It's great to see you, and everyone who is joining us. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you're still here, even though it's a holiday and that there's no court today, but we can have a little more time to kind of chat things up since court will not be starting today. So I put together some clips as usual. I've edited something for you guys. And then I want to go into the interview of AlexMurdaugh and just watch it in real time with you guys. The third interview, I kind of want to watch and react. Good morning, BLN and Karen and everyone else. Okay, sound is good. Thank you so much. So as everyone knows, the prosecution has arrested its case. I'm curious what you guys are thinking so far. For those on replay, comment down below. Do you think that the state and the prosecution has proven beyond a reasonable doubt? Now, don't tell me you think he's guilty, you think this or that. Just tell me if you think beyond a reasonable doubt the state has proven that he's guilty. They have the burden of proof. Now, I'll tell you my thoughts on that after we kind of go through some edited stuff, but I'm curious what chat is thinking right now. Let me play this recorded video. It's around 7 minutes long, and then I'll circle back around and talk to you guys in chat, and we can talk about everything that is played, okay? So thank you so much for being here. Good morning, Jen Lou, Jesse Lynn, Delana, Detective Juan, everyone else who's joining. Thanks so much. All right, let's get into it, guys, and good morning. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we're going over the AlexMurdaugh case, and we know that around 8:30, Paul's phone started heading towards the kennels. We also know that around 8:44, he sends a Snapchat video to his friend Rogan. And then by 8:49, Paul's phone goes silent forever.
Come here, Cash. And what voices did you hear?
Paul's, Miss Maggie, Miss Alec.
And how sure are you now?
Positive.
100%?
That's correct.
It looked like he had stolen.
It's clear that Alec committed some financial crimes, that we know, and it has been laid out very clear by the prosecution. But did he pull the trigger for both Maggie and Paul?
They're on the ground out at my kennel.
Sir. Yes, sir. I went and this is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
He's been getting punched.
Do you see anyone in the area?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
He did it so bad.
The prosecution is claiming Alex says, I did him so bad. But the defense is saying he says they did him so bad. The problem is law enforcement didn't see anybody else in the area that night.
I don't see anybody.
When Alec repeats the question back to the investigator here, he stalls and buys himself more time to come up with an answer. Whether or not that means he's guilty, you let me know what you think.
Did you kill Maggie?
No. Did I kill my wife?
Yes, sir.
No, David.
Do you know who did?
No, I do not know who did.
Did you kill Paul?
No, I did not kill Paul.
Do you know who did?
No, sir, I do not know who did. Do you think I killed Maggie?
have to go where the evidence and the facts
I
take me.
understand that. And you think I killed Paul?
I have to go where the evidence and the facts take me, and I don't have anything that points to anybody else at this time.
So does that mean that I am a suspect?
You were still in, like I told Corey earlier, you were still in this. With everything that we've talked about, with the family guns, the ammunition, nobody else's DNA. I have to put my beliefs aside and go with the facts.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why there's 300 blackout. I'm trying to figure out why there's so many shell casings, but only one gunshot went to the back of each head. Not my job to figure that out. I'm just curious.
Alex says that the dogs were how they were when he got there, the same as when law enforcement got here. However, law enforcement claims that on the 911 call, they can hear him calling a dog over, saying, here.
When you return home from your mom's, where were the dogs?
They were like they were when I didn't put dogs up.
Okay.
So
they weren't running loose?
However they were.
Okay. At one point in the 911 call, you say here, like you're talking to somebody else or something else.
I say here?
Here, yes, sir. So the dispatcher is asking you if they're breathing, and you said no. And she asked did you see anyone else in the area, and you said no. She asked about guns near them, and you said no. And then you kind of stutter and start moving around, and you said here.
I don't have any memory of saying that. I guess I'd have to listen to it but I don't recall a dog being out. I'm certain that there was not a dog out.
Is there any guns near them at all?
No, they're here. No, they're here.
We see on camera that all the dogs were in their kennels when they got there. So was he corralling them when he was on the phone with 911? If so, then why didn't he just tell the investigators that when he got there? Instead, he claims they were all in the kennels the same way that they were when the first responders arrived. Just another example of Alex's contradictions and conflicting statements.
Lord, I didn't put dogs up.
Okay. So they weren't running loose?
However they were.
Okay.
And one more time.
Here.
You can actually hear in this 911 call when the operator asks him, are you sure they're not breathing? He doesn't even respond to her. In fact, you can almost hear as if he's texting or fiddling with his phone while she's asking these questions. Listen and let me know what you think.
And you sure they're not breathing? Is he moving at all, your son? I know you said that she was shot, but what about your son?
Nobody. They're not. Neither one of them's moving.
What is your telephone number? And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really, no, ma'am. Oh, man. Oh.
All right, so Let me just say good morning to everyone else who has joined. Please hit like if you haven't done so. I'm looking through some comments. People definitely here maybe texting. He sounds preoccupied, distracted, whatever he's doing. It's not being attentive to the 911 operator. You know, she says, "Are you sure that they're not breathing?" He doesn't even answer her. You know, what really is going on there? Did people hear him say here? You know, I think I seen Allison say, who was he? Oh, Crime Sleuthin, good morning. And good morning, Allison. He was saying, or who was he saying here to? Right. Is it to the dogs? Is it, you know, someone else there helping him? That's the thing is I pretty much wanted to circle around and tell you guys that, even though I believe the prosecution kind of tied it up for me as far as, and I told this to Karen over the weekend, I said, I believe, and good morning, Roxanne, I believe that the prosecution definitely laid it out that Alec could have done this all by himself. I think that they definitely showed that with the GPS from the Suburban, all that kind of tied together for me with the cell phone stuff, and then the conversation that Maggie and Paul had, you know, in their searches about the pills and stuff. I think that all that kind of proved to me that he would do anything to, you know, save his reputation, to, you know, protect his money. You know, that boating accident definitely was a burden on him. I think that they proved that he could have done it by himself. However, and this is where I'm like hung up, and you know, it's just my opinion, guys. Although I do think he's guilty and I do think that he's involved in this, I cannot say beyond a reasonable doubt that somebody else wasn't there helping him. So like the title, did he pull the trigger for both guns? I absolutely think the prosecution has shown like, yes, he could do it. Yeah, Sarah, he has no dignity. I am curious to see what the defense has also. Yeah, he's not a good person. Agree. I do think that hi, Mike, they proved that he could do this by himself. However, just because they've proved that he could have done it by himself, it doesn't show me that they 100% have proven that there was nobody else there. Although, you know, the Snapchat video, it's only those three voices. The family guns that are missing and the ammunition, it definitely points towards Alec by himself. But if I had to, you know, be on the jury, unfortunately, I cannot say beyond a reasonable doubt that, you know, he was there by himself, him alone pulled the trigger for both of them. Like, I feel like they've shown that it's possible, but in my opinion, beyond a reasonable doubt, just, I'm not there. Like, I just wish that we had. Oh, thank you so much, Mike. As everyone knows, us creators can't see the gifted memberships on StreamYard. So thank you so much, Karen, for letting me know. And thank you, Mike, for gifting those. It's greatly appreciated. Good morning, Kimberly. It's good to see you. Hope everyone's doing well. So I don't know, guys. I just, Diane says, I don't feel they'd have to prove it was just him. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I see what you mean. What do we do to prove that a shooter didn't come immediately after Alec left for Almeida? I mean, and the problem is too, is like his conflicting statements definitely have done him in. You know, he's changed his story so many times. In fact, we're going to watch the third interview and kind of just analyze it, go through it. I haven't watched it all, so we're just going to do it together. If someone else was involved, they only destroyed evidence. Yes, exactly, Jen. Like, you know, got rid of the guns, or I see exactly what you mean. So Alec definitely could have pulled the trigger even if somebody else was there on the property. That definitely is a possibility too. I don't know. It's hard. I thought going into this case, it was going to be very cut and dry. He's guilty. He did this, but I just feel like, yeah, he's made himself guilty. Yeah. I just feel like, yeah, he didn't realize Paul took that video. Yeah, why didn't he report the stolen guns? Most damaging testimony was from Marianne Porter, Maggie's sister, when she said that Alec told her whoever done it must have thought about it for a long time. Big red flag. Yeah, I agree. Like, that statement must have been so alarming for her. The prosecution's fear of a mistrial might come back to bite them. Good morning, Wolfie. And people are feeling like it's there for them beyond a reasonable doubt. So thank you so much for your guys' feedback. Okay, Ruckus Rocks, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, with the Snapchat video, how do you get around that? $9,000 guns, who wouldn't report them missing? Exactly, guys. He lured Maggie there. And the thing is, too, is his statement about the last time he's seen them. Okay, so on 911, he says about an hour and a half ago. So he calls at 10:06, an hour and a half ago. You know, that puts him right around the time that that it showed Paul's phone was moving towards the kennels. And remember, during that time, Alex's phone from 8 to 9:02, 9:07-ish is shut off completely. No activity. Now, sorry, I want to correct myself. I don't know if it was shut off. Chat, replay viewers, let me know. I do know that it showed no activity, like it wasn't moving, etc. So was it on airplane mode? Was it just sitting? Was it turned off? That I need 100% clarification on. I don't want to say 100% it was turned off, but I do know that it was showing no activity. So his phone shows no activity, but he's claiming that he'd seen them an hour and a half prior. But at the same time, we know that his vehicle fires up around 9:07 or whatever to drive over to his mother's house. So his timelines have just not added up ever. So then as soon as the first responders officers get there, they ask him, when was the last time you saw them all? And he's like, oh, well, I was at my mother's for an hour and a half, and I saw them probably 45 minutes before that. So already that's already different from what he had just said to 911, right? So then in his third interview, I believe he changes the timeline again. So we're going to listen to that and kind of pick that apart. You know, he's taking a nap, which is very convenient. However, he doesn't hear any of these gunshots. Now, we've seen the distance from the kennels to the house. I don't know too much about guns, but would he or would he not have been able to kind of hear those rounds going off? You guys let me know, because I'm curious, like, everyone's opinions on that. Okay, Alex's phone was on, but no activity, if I remember correctly. Okay, thank you. Yeah, there was no steps or anything like that taken. He lied about everything in his life. Yep. And we do know he was at the kennels, right? He lied. And it's great too, because these interviews that are done, he has no idea. And I don't even think the if I remember correctly, law enforcement doesn't get that Snapchat video until, what was it, March 2022, guys. So all this kind of takes place. He's slipping under the radar because they don't have that data back from, they have to get a warrant and all that from Snapchat. So this all takes time. And this on the screen was the last text message that Paul read on his phone. It was from a girl. She said, I don't like watching sad movies. And he read it at 8:48 and 59 seconds. So he's still alive at pretty much 8:49. Paul, he's able to read his phone. Good morning, allegedly, with Brittany J. Thank you so much for being here. And great show last night. I heard a gun going off when I was sleeping, and I heard it and will usually sleep through anything. Interesting. All right. So, yeah, the phone addictions get them every time, even a lawyer. Exactly. It's very ironic. And it being tied to the dogs, the whole point of that Snapchat was because they had to show Rogan the picture of the dog's tail to confirm, like, is there something wrong here? Let me send a Snapchat video, so it all was centered around the dogs. And just to hear them barking, when they all arrive, everyone knows that they wish that the dogs could speak. So good morning, Joe, and everyone else who's joined us. Now,
the date is going to be
This data from the phone is very important. I feel like it was better for me to just clip the agent kind of talking about it in court than for me to kind of explain it to you guys. So let me finish up this editing stuff with this little clip here. I think it's like a minute long or something. And then we will switch to the third AlexMurdaugh interview and listen to that. Remember, there's no court today, so thank you all for being here and waking up with me. And good morning, Carolina. It's good to see you and everyone else.
May 6, 2021 at 10:52:13 a.m.
And what does it say?
It says, I am still an EB because when you get here, we need to talk. Mom found several bags of pills in your computer bag. This is again from Paul to Alex on May 6. So this is going to be Google searches.
That makes sense, Jen Lou. I think when Rogan texted Alec, he knew he messed up. He knew about the video, I think. That would make sense. Because when Rogan wasn't getting a response from Paul, he asked Maggie and Alex to have Paul text him or call him, right? And so when that call or when that text came through from Rogan, all of a sudden he's probably thinking like, wait, he's reaching out to me because Paul didn't respond to him about something. Oh no, what did they send him? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure his anxiety was like, what the heck? Is that why he picked up Paul's phone? You know? Is that why he said, I picked it up thinking, and then I changed, and then I said no, or whatever he says about picking up his phone, you know? That video puts him at the scene of the crime. It does. It absolutely does. You cannot deny it. You really can't. That's his voice.
Far left, you're going to have a timestamp. The source, which is going to be Safari, that's for Apple. And then the searched item. And on May 26, 2021 at 11:21 p.m., Maggie searched green gel pill P30. She also searched 11:20 p.m. Green gel pill P30, white pill 30 on one side, RP. And if you look to the right, you're going to see a column that says deleted. That one is showing yes has been deleted. And then if we go down to row number 4, it's going to be May 6, 2021 from Safari, white pill 30 on one side, RP, and that's also shown deleted.
So I just think that those searches from Maggie's phone are very noteworthy. They definitely lead me to think that this pill addiction is valid. How are you guys feeling? Because I know that when this started, everyone thought that that was maybe fabricated. Yeah, I'm wondering too, maybe Maggie flushed the pills. That would have him really upset. All right, let me switch up my screen, guys. Again, thanks for being here. You might have already seen this interrogation video. I haven't watched it all the way through, so I just want to watch it with you guys this morning. So yeah, thanks for being here. Now, I do think that I want more information, and I know it's not even like relevant, which is why they didn't allow the name to be mentioned in court. But Maggie's sister mentioned some affair that took place between Alec and somebody, and I just cannot help but like wonder like who that other person was. Yeah, I think that that's very likely too. He was selling them too. I think he was a casual user. What I would like to know, and if anyone who has been following this for a while would know, did he get sick like once he was in custody? You know, did he go through bad withdrawal? Did they ever talk about his like medical stuff? I think Alex was confronted sometime that evening about the drugs. That makes sense. He was selling for sure. Cousin Eddie. Yep. I think we're all on the same page. Yeah, I just think that that would be interesting to know. Like, was he being given medication for withdrawal symptoms? What type of paper trail was there? No, because he detoxed before he was arrested. That's right. That's right. And is that where that one text message comes from or whatever when he was in rehab? I think he was selling, definitely. I think Alec and Cousin Eddie were running the pills. It makes sense. Oh, Cousin Eddie. Oh, geez. All right, guys, let's get into this. We'll watch as much as we can. Should I speed it up a little bit? I know we're kind of working on South Carolina talk and nothing against it, but let's see what it sounds like sped up a little bit.
Who's down to your right? Jeff Croft. Jeff, here. Is that in back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What time is this?
It indicates 9:50. The time was incorrect on our recording system. But my notes, my report indicates it was approximately 11:09 a.m.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Judge. One of the jurors for questions out there.
For about $1 a day, this new company will ship you compostable zipper bags and give you.
Yes, apparently, Patsy, he did go to rehab.
Doing good, man. Ready to see some cool weather.
I agree, Jamie, though. He definitely has lost a lot of weight.
To the left of Mr. Murdaugh, I know we've got an inset smaller, but to the left of Mr. AlexMurdaugh, the defendant, is that Corey Fleming?
Yes, it is.
It was brutal at my house last week. There was
Oh, okay. No, you spell your name with two M's or one?
Yeah, Karen, where is all that cash and money hidden?
All right. Alec, I appreciate you.
I mean, I can't help but wonder if I hate to drag him into this, but does Buster know anything about any of that money or where it is or, offshore accounts? I don't know.
I know we got a lot to talk about. We got Dan's questions. But before we get started with your questions, this has been going on for over 2 months, and we've done a lot of work. I know you have. And I've got some more questions that I need to get clarifications on. Sure. Okay. So we'll start with that.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
Maybe I'm mistaken. I thought we were coming here so you could update him on what's going on.
And I intend to do that.
Okay, let's do that first.
Okay.
Let's do that first.
The update is I'm doing the investigation, and I have some questions that I would like some answers to. And I mean, certainly, if I ask the question, if you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer it.
No, I'm not with that.
I mean, it's more clarifications of the 2 interviews you've already given me.
Totally understand.
Okay.
Just wait 1 second.
Yeah.
Wait 1 second. All right. I need for you to tell me, are you going to give us information? Or are we just here for you to ask questions?
Now, I'm going to give you some information.
Right. Why can't you give us information first?
Some of the information that you're asking about are in my questions.
Now, even though his lawyer is here, I feel like he still talked way too much. What do you guys think? Like, I feel like there were times when the lawyer could have said, don't answer that or something like that. But like Alec just keeps talking and he definitely does himself in really well with this interview. It's the third contradiction he says when even just one example, just talking about the last time he saw them. So good morning, Evil CJ. It's good to see you.
And as we go through, you'll see.
Okay. I know, but I can't. I mean, I'm a friend, but I'm also a lawyer, and
I'd like to know what we do.
Now watch, Alec gets he'll move around a little bit when he's uncomfortable. I think people have kind of picked up on that. And another thing that I wanted to mention too, earlier when he's asked in this interview, which we'll get to it again, I think Allison pointed it out. He's saying no, like when he's asked, like, did you kill Paul? Did you kill Maggie? He says no, but he's nodding his head yes. So I'm sure people have noticed that, but I just wanted to say that out loud. And thank you, Delaney, for gifting memberships. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
I'd like to understand what we're talking about. Well, I need you to answer this question. Are you asking him questions to further your investigation, or are you asking him questions because you think that he's a suspect? I need a straight answer.
I am asking these questions to further my investigation.
Does that mean that you're not asking him these questions as a suspect? Because I'm not comfortable with you asking him questions as a suspect when I came here with the thought that you were going to be telling him where you are in the investigation, what it is you've done, seen, uncovered, whatever. That's why we came here.
Well, let me respond to your question. Yeah. It may not be a direct answer that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I've told Alec this when we first met. Any homicide investigation, you start with the closest person and or the person who found the deceased. In most cases, that's Alec. Everybody stays in that investigation until we can get them out. And right now, because of the questions I have that I need explanations for, I cannot get Alec out.
Okay. That's a reasonable statement. I don't have a problem with that statement. That's fine. I don't read it, but everybody in the United States of America has an opinion on this case. And because I know everybody, I know it's a bunch of bullshit. I can't imagine that y'all are going to be asking about nonsense in the internet.
No. I mean, just because they're not doing the investigation.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, if you're comfortable, if you're okay, yes, then that's fine. Anything to help. All right. That's fine.
So I'm gonna go back to Monday morning, and you went to the office. Okay. What time did you go to the office? Who was at your house when you left? And what time did you go to the office?
We've been to a ball game that weekend. I don't remember exactly what time. It would have been somewhere between 8:30 and 9:30, probably 10 o'clock maybe at the latest, something like that.
And when I ask about time, I'm not saying it was 5:11 or something like that. I just
totally understand.
I mean, it's ballpark. That's as close as you can get to it.
And if you need to know exactly when, there would be a keypad that will tell when exactly I went in my office that I can get for you.
Okay.
So
so you have a key fob to get in your office?
A card.
Okay. Yeah.
So, a little bit, it's probably a little bit on the later side of that. I guess I know Maggie got up early to get out of there because she had an appointment in Charleston. Just don't remember if I left right after she did or I fiddled around.
And I already know that Paul stayed at John Martin's that night, so it was just you and Maggie in the house.
That's correct.
And I know when you were at the office, you were working on motions, and some of those motions you dealt with before Paul's the boat accident or the boat case.
I'm not really doing the legal work.
I understand, but you're Paul's dad, you're a lawyer, you're definitely going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So what were those motions? Did it deal with Parker's, or was it the actual boat accident, or?
It was the civil case.
Okay. What time did you leave and get home?
Earlier than normal.
Open the door to a new career with Penn Foster.
5:30.
You left the office.
Sir.
Okay. What time did Paul get home that night?
Me and Paul got there about the same time. Maybe he was a little bit later than me, or maybe a little bit earlier than me, but it was close to the same time.
Y'all rode around the farm. I believe you said 2 different trucks, 2 different vehicles.
Sure.
What were those 2 different vehicles?
We rode in the white pickup truck, and we rode in the black pickup truck.
So do you guys believe that they rode around in the trucks that he listed? Or do you think that they rode around in that ATV thing? Because I was thinking, he does say that they did shooting practice that day, earlier that day, he and Paul. And, obviously the murder weapons are missing, and even some of the family weapons are missing, which I think are obviously linked. Were they using the weapons that were missing and used on them for target practice that day? You know what I mean? That I'm curious on, because that would make sense why the caregiver who cleaned the kennels earlier that day would testify that he didn't see any guns in the kennels that day. If they were using them and then had taken them there, later, then, were the guns on the ATV or whatever at the kennels or in the vicinity? So no, there's no trial today, Mary Jane. It's a holiday. And good morning, Candy Cane and everyone else. So, I'm just curious, were the murder weapons the weapons used that earlier that day for target practice? And then they were hanging around the ATVs or whatever near the kennels, and that's why they were there and in close proximity, and that's why the caretaker for the kennels who cleaned earlier didn't see them earlier in the day, because it was after the fact.
Long guns and take your time.
It's okay.
Did you see any rifles and shotguns?
I don't remember seeing any that day. No, we did have pistols.
Yeah, but then you said you went target practice.
Not really target practice.
You just shoot. Yeah.
We rode around for a couple hours, just looked at everything. All the stuff Paul did on the farm, and we just spent, time to go. I'm sorry.
No, that's all on.
You can do this. I can do it. We started out going to look at the sunflowers. Was worried about the sunflowers. That was the first thing we looked at. And we just rode. We just rode and looked at it.
Yes, I agree, Sarah. Adams says Paul was his biggest financial liability. And if they were confronting him about, selling pills or using pills or both, that, who knows what he thought that they were going to do about that information. You know what I mean? All this stuff coming at him, his best friend confronting him, his law firm confronting him about stolen money, all of that coming at him. And all he wanted to do was probably defend himself against everything that was coming at him. Well, how is he going to defend himself when he's got to pay for his son, Paul, who needs a defense also, from his mess that was created? So I just think that, it really is like, even though there was no life insurance on Paul, if he killed his son, Paul, that would still free up a lot of money, and Alec might have needed all that money for his own legal defense, So Paul, unfortunately, his problems were first and came to light first. And now, Paul needs all this defense. Well, who's going to pay for that defense? Alec. So I agree. Paul was a financial liability. That boating accident was not going to be good for them as far as money wise. And the fact that now Alec is going to need his own defense against things, Paul's going to suck him dry first before he can defend himself. So I think it's all about him, you know, self-preservation. He just didn't want to face whatever he was going to face. Before Paul and Maggie were even dead, he was facing a lot of issues and likely prison time. All this sniffing and coughing is to get more time to think of a new lie. Exactly. And which is why earlier, I don't know if you were here, but when I did some clips together, you know, and he's asked the question, we'll get to there, you know, did you kill Paul? And he repeats it back. Do you think I killed Paul, or you think I killed Paul? You know, whatever he repeats back, he's buying himself more time, you know, and he does this like nervous laugh, and it's just so unsettling. The first time I heard it, I was just like, okay, definitely could see him doing it for sure. Just from the way that he responded. Yeah, he was trying to save his reputation from shattering. He knew with Paul out of the way, the boating accident would disappear. And you know what? Ultimately, the inquiries stopped in a way, you know, like once the death took place and all that, like it seemed like maybe he did think that everything was going to go away, or that he had gotten over that obstacle. However, I mean, the spot that he's in right now, he's still fighting that battle of proving his truth to everybody. And he does a terrible job here in this interview.
We hadn't done it in a while. We just rode, talked. Rode, talked. Talk about everything, you know. Just one of the main things, he'd been having trouble, his feet had swelled up, and we were worried about blood pressure and stress on him. And I mean, he handled all this stuff so amazingly, but I mean, we were just so worried about it. But I mean, we talked about that. We talked about the farm. We just talked about everything.
Has Paul been seeing a doctor for this thing?
No, sir.
We're not trying to get him to go.
Trying to get him to go.
He was resistant.
Yeah, he had been resistant, but much less so after his feet swelled up. I mean, he'd been having all kind of little problems, but much less after his feet swelled up.
His parents, I'm sure you and Maggie stayed on him about going out. I mean, how did he respond to you?
To going out?
No, going to the doctor.
He did.
When y'all talked about it.
He's very resistant.
Crime Sleuthin said, plus the family of Gloria Satterfield had just discovered the $2 million he stole from them. That was coming out. He had to come up with and preserve money for that. He knew he'd have to pay up soon. Right. So he owes his best friend money. He owes his law firm money. He owes the Satterfield boys money. And that same week, Paul had his hearing or whatever for the wrongful death lawsuit in the boating accident. All he did was put the spotlight on himself, Allison says. He was so desperate, and desperate people make huge mistakes. The murders would buy him time to move money and fix things, or so Alex thought. Right? And I've seen somebody speculate that, you know, he was going to like try and get away.
Very, very resistant. I mean, we talked to him about seeing a doctor, about the stresses of everything with the boat wreck. He didn't think he needed to do that. I mean, we tried to watch him really closely.
This feels so right. ADT systems now feature Google products like the Nest Cam with flood.
But he was resistant.
What time did Maggie get that phone call?
Later. I'd say probably the best I can tell, a couple hours after us, after we got there.
When you and Paul returned back to the house, was Maggie there?
I can't remember if Maggie came by the shed and Paul and I were up there, or if we met her at the house. But, you know, it's not unusual for her, if we're messing around, for her to swing through up there.
Mm-hmm.
And Maggie was supposed to be coming home. I've since found out she was worried about me and me worried about my dad until she came home.
Now, I'm curious what you guys think of this. This is just my opinion. He always says that Maggie was worried about him and worried about his father's condition, which we know she was. You know, her texts with Blanca do state that. I wonder though if he's holding back on the fact that Maggie confronted him about the pill usage, though. You know, it makes me wonder if that's what that whole dinner and everything was going to also be about. However, you know, why would she bring that up after knowing that his father's not doing well? So maybe it wasn't brought up. But I just wonder if, I mean, obviously Alex isn't being honest with this detective. Right. She was worried about her finances too. Yeah, the drugs and the finances probably more so. I agree. Yeah, maybe an intervention, but I don't know how much I think that, especially with his father not doing well, maybe they would hold off on an intervention. But I'm just wondering, you know, was there some sort of confrontation about the pills or money or, you know, even if they said, we're concerned for you, we're not here to berate you or whatever, you know, like, was it something like that? And he still was just feeling like his back was up against the wall and didn't matter that they were coming at him in a caring tone, you know? I don't know. I'm just speculating, guys. Yeah, he stole his father's meds. Paul apparently noticed, and Maggie's sister said that he was determined to find out who was doing it. And I'm sure he knew who.
So at that point in the interview, she said, did he tell you she came home because she was worried about his dad?
Yes.
Basis for an objection.
Leading, he just repeating what the jury just heard on the video.
Good morning, Tom N., and thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
No, I can play it and come back and ask him to clarify that. That's all. Go ahead, please.
Maggie was supposed to be coming home. I've since found out she was worried about me and me worried about my dad.
I could see that, Jen Lou.
Where was she going to say that?
At Edison. We were having work done down there. And I wasn't 100%, but it's pretty well she was going to stay at Edison.
So it kind of surprised you that she came there?
That didn't totally surprise me. She'd let me know earlier that she was coming home. But then I found out later, wow, she came home.
She was concerned for you?
Sure.
What time did y'all sit down and eat dinner?
Not too long after that. Blanc had made dinner. So the three of us ate dinner together.
What was the conversation around the dinner table?
No. Regular stuff. I mean, I can't tell you exactly, but.
How was Maggie's appointment in Charleston that day?
I think it had gone good. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it in detail. She's been having a couple of medical issues. I can't even remember which one. It wasn't anything huge. I can't remember exactly which one she went for.
And after dinner, Maggie and Paul went to the kennels, or?
You know, I don't know exactly how that went.
And how doesn't he know how it went? You know, we know from the phone activity that they pulled up that they, you know, it showed no activity on their phones, no steps, etc. from a given time period, and everyone concluded that that was when they were eating their dinner, and that was the dinner that Blanca made for them. And then they, you know, at 8:30, it showed Paul's phone moving immediately towards the kennels. So it was directly after them sitting, you know, so being there as a fly on the wall, it would seem like they were sitting and eating and then probably had a conversation like, let's head down to the kennels or let's go down there. I need to check on Rogan's dog. I want to send him a video. His tail looked a little off and it shows them walking down there. So for him to kind of act like, oh, I have no idea, you know, he obviously knows his timeline is screwed. So that's why he's given this sort of like, oh, I have no idea type of talk, and can't give, you know, more details. And thank you, Crime Curious, for becoming a member. So happy to have you. And I'm scrolling up. Thank you so much. Tom, I never read your comment out loud, but good morning, Amber, and the rest of the group. I hope everyone having a great Monday so far. Totally. I'm having a good Monday, especially because you guys are here. Alex can walk and run pretty good while sleeping. Right. Yeah, he's supposed to be napping. And yet we hear him on the Snapchat video. Good morning, BT26X. So I'm also going to link my Facebook group. It's True Crime Facebook group. So if anyone wants to share a crime story, outside of the ones that we cover here on YouTube, we talk about a lot more in the group too. So yeah, this is the full interview, BT26X. I did some editing in the beginning of the stream on cameras discussing too with other clips from the case. So now we've just kind of transitioned to watching this because I haven't seen it all. So let me link the Facebook group in chat. And if anyone wants to join that, be happy to see you guys there to continue discussions. Okay.
I stayed on the couch and I dozed off.
Now, here's another thing, and I think this part is just so fascinating and brilliant that they put it together how, he says that he's taken a nap, falls asleep on the couch. We see from his phone activity from 8 to 9, we'll say, there was no activity, no movement. So he says something about looking at his phone or whatever and falling asleep on the couch. Well, nothing came up in court about him like fidgeting on a website or looking at this or that during that time frame. So we just know that doesn't even match up with his digital evidence, and we know from Paul's digital evidence that he was actually at the kennels with them. So it's just, he just keeps talking and he keeps digging himself a hole.
And then I got up.
Did you watch TV that night?
I know the TV was, I believe the TV was on. But I wasn't watching it.
Stop right there, please. I'm not going to repeat that, but this next question regarding a tree video, had you confronted him with that before?
No, sir, I had not.
Okay, please go ahead.
There is a video on Paul's phone of you and him on the farm that night. And you were in khaki pants and a dress shirt. You were playing with a tree.
I don't remember playing with a tree.
Yeah. I guess there was a tree sapling or something that had fallen over or bending over, and you were trying to get it to stand up. But I mean, the question in that is, when I met you that night, you were in shorts and a t-shirt. At what point in that evening did you change clothes?
I'm not sure. It would have been
before dinner or after dinner?
No, it would have been. What time of day was that? I would have thought I'd already changed.
There's not a time.
Is he asking you now what time that picture was?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was down on it because there's so many posts, but I want to say it looks to be about dusk. So that would have been 7:30, 8 o'clock.
I guess that changed when I got back to the house.
Earlier when we spoke, and you talked about waking up from your nap and then going to check on your mother, and you tried to call Maggie, and you tried to call Paul, and then you sent Maggie a text that you were going to check on your mother. You also told me that Maggie didn't normally go with you to check on your mother, but that she might ride that night. Did you go by and check on her?
Go by and check on my mom?
Maggie, before you left to go?
No, I didn't.
Was her not responding to you and thinking that she might ride with you? Why didn't you?
And now remember, he goes to see his mother and he claims he was there for an hour and a half. And the caretaker who takes care of the mother at night, she testifies that no, he was only here for 20 minutes. So we also know through the prosecution's closing, or well, their before they rested their case, they finished up that day with digital information. And part of the digital information was from his Suburban SUV that night, which, indicates where he was, what speed he was going, etc. And we have it as the average speed that he was driving from his residence to his mother's house and back was 46.5 miles per hour. That was the average speed. He maxed at 80 miles per hour. So while the average was around 46, we'll estimate it, round up to 50 miles an hour. He maxed out around like 81 miles an hour. So, and they talked about in court how, that's just very unusual to be going that speed, especially in that area, the potholes, the deer. Although I do know many people who purposely take country roads so that they can speed. So I'm just playing devil's advocate there. But if we look at everything in a circumstantial sense, and we know for a fact, not even circumstantial, because the digital evidence proves that there is a timeline that we can follow that is pretty solid. The digital footprint here, you can always rely on more so than the circumstantial stuff. So the digital footprint has the timeline. And then the circumstantial stuff, like, why was he speeding? Well, was it because he knew his timeline was screwed up? Like he'd already taken too much time here, or something didn't go right, or he needed to get back there immediately to call 911 and act like he had just rolled up. Everything just falls apart as far as his timeline. So Allison said, yeah, my husband drives fast no matter what road he's on. Exactly. So, the defense obviously will argue everything. And good morning, Melissa Jade and SRB. So good to see you guys, and everyone else who has joined. Thanks for being here.
I don't remember having plans that Maggie was going to ride with me. But maybe she had told me that she was that night. I don't recall that. I don't remember that specifically, but it wasn't. She didn't normally go with me. I mean, it's not like we had plans that she was going to ride with me, or that she was going.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but at one point, doesn't Alec explain that he wanted to go see his mother that night because his father was going into the hospital, and when she's there alone, like he made it seem like she doesn't like to be there, like alone or something along those lines. Do you guys remember that? Which obviously contradicts the whole, he didn't have his phone like near him, or checking text messages, etc. during that time, or even calling the caretaker to see like, hey, how's mom doing? I was thinking about coming by. Everything that he does doesn't add up with statements that he's said, and then he ends up changing the statement. So it's just overall not good for Alex, at least.
These are just maps I pulled off of Google.
Okay, thank you, Seagate. She got anxious. Thank you.
What route did you take from Moselle to the Knobs?
I would have gone to the right on Moselle Road, 63, into Barnville, turn left on the road, right before 278, 601, and then in front of the school, turn right. That's how I believe I went.
Right on Moselle to 63.
That's right on Moselle. Yeah. The normal way is right on Moselle to Dobson Road. Dobson Road to 63. 63 into Barnville, left on whatever the road is that goes to the school. Right. And then either 63 or left on the road that goes down and then on 63.
So SRB, I don't know that the link for that, for the iPhone membership link. I'm going to try and figure it out while we're watching this. But Jesse Lynn asked if he is found not guilty, of the murders, will the judge let him bond out while waiting on his trial for the financial crimes? Now, I've seen a lot of people kind of bounce around with that, like wondering the same. I'm wondering the same too. I actually just talked about that the other day with my fiance, like, will, and I think that it's possible, if bond is set high and he has the funds. I don't know. I think it's possible. Do I know that that's going to take place? I have no idea. I'm curious. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, his mother was sleeping while Alex talked to her. Yeah. His vehicle stopped where the phone was thrown. Now, here's the thing. I thought that they said it sped up. Now, did it stop and then speed up? Help me out, guys, because I'm really confused there. Because I swear they even asked him, like, did it speed up during that time? Either he threw the phone or he drove by the person who did. Jerry, I was thinking the same. I totally was thinking the same. Somebody's discarding evidence, etc. I thought that could be the reason too. I also thought, like, what if he had a passenger who threw it and they were just speeding up at that point? And he's speeding, but the other guy's throwing. I don't know. How far in was it from the road? That I need to know more on too. So I don't want to say like it's something when I don't know the measurements from the road. Was it deep in there? Yes, his mother had bad dementia, and he probably knows she would more than likely be sleeping already ahead of time that night, yet he goes anyway without calling first. Yeah, that to me is very strange. Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay, I'll figure it out, SRB. No worries either way. I'm just happy you're here. Okay, go to studio, click on the monetization, go to membership, then okay. I will do that while we play this. Yes, Alex is a danger to himself, so I don't think so. It didn't stop. Okay, so the car didn't stop. It sped up after the toss. He was going 45 miles an hour or something. Okay, 40 miles per hour while the phone was thrown. I don't know if they'll set bond because he's already shown that he has tried to off himself. Oh, yes. I see what you're saying. Yeah, they don't want that. Alex throws everything in the ditch. Oh, thank you so much, Evil CJ. SRB, you got it? Thanks, mods.
How often did you go visit your mother during that time?
I mean, it wasn't infrequent. It wasn't all the time. I mean, visit her, all times a day.
Checking on her, especially with your dad and him.
Okay, the car did not
She's been having
stop.
a day, particularly, she's got.
Just to have it on record, the car did not stop. It did speed up at the place that the phone was. It was a long throw, not in the ditch. Interesting. His vehicle, according to the data, sped up at a normal pace, no taking off, stops, etc. Car did not stop. It was going 35 miles per hour, then 42 miles an hour. Phone was 15 feet off the road. Now I want to see someone kind of like replicate this scenario. That would be interesting to see, if he could toss it. And which side of the road? The driver's side? Like which direction was he going, etc. And thank you, SRB, for becoming a member. So happy to have you here.
Alzheimer's really bad, or pretty bad. And she had been particularly agitated, with him not being there. And checked on her more in the days and weeks following my dad's passing than, otherwise, but several times a week, any time.
How long would you say you were at your mom's at night?
45 minutes, an hour.
Had you talked to Shelley Smith at this point?
During the President's Day sales event, get this month's exclusive offer on.
She had been interviewed, yes. I had not spoken with her by that time. Yes, sir. Please go. You gotta take it back home. Making stops on the way.
On the way there.
And here's the problem too. SLED did not go to his mother's house to do sort of like a crime scene run through or whatever, or look at it until September. We know this takes place early June, so that is a huge misstep done by SLED, amongst other missteps as well, which unfortunately the defense will throw in everyone's face while they go up to the stand this week and do everything that they're going to do this week. They really are going to point out SLED's missteps. And thank you so much, Seagate, for the super sticker. And Crime Sleuth, and I'd love to see that picture. Are you on Facebook? Because I'm going to link my Facebook groups in chat right now for anyone who wants to join. And if you have things to share, it's easier for me to look at it through my groups than like an email. I'm really not an email type person. I'm always on my groups moderating them. Okay, have you seen the Mob's Crew reenactment? It's so good. Proved no way to do all that before calling 911. Wait, what? No, I didn't see it. Is it new? I love Mob Crew.
On the way to your mom's work and you return trip back home.
Stops. No, I didn't go anywhere. I went straight there. I did. No, sir.
And earlier in the day when you were down at that shed in kennels with Paul, did y'all discuss any injuries to any dogs?
Did he and I? No, but Rogan Gibson told me about the dog's tail and somebody saying his leg was broken.
Which one was his dog?
You turn up Mr. Orange's volume. Yes. Or turn up the volume.
Allison said the way SLED treated this case shows how investigations are different for the wealthy. Good point. It's so true.
Did he and I? No, but Rogan Gibson told me about the dog's tail and somebody saying his leg was broken.
So right here in the interview, your question was, did Paul tell you that? So did he deny that he'd had a conversation with Paul about that?
He never said he had a conversation.
What if anything did he say about whether he'd had a conversation with Paul about that?
He didn't indicate that he had a conversation with Paul. He said he had a conversation with Rogan Gibson.
That he'd heard that from Rogan?
Yes, sir. Which one's his dog?
It's a chocolate puppy, I think.
Was the leg broken?
Not that I know of.
I can certainly see why something might be wrong with his tail, because when I was out there, he was chasing his tail and looking through the fence and trying to grab it. Yes, that was kind of the energy. When you got back to Murdough, which driveway did you go?
I went in the brick gates.
To Maggie and Paul, were there vehicles at the house?
Yes, sir.
How did they get down there that night?
Still, I was hoping you were going to be able to tell me that.
The only thing that I can come up with is that black truck. Is that Buster's old black truck?
Yes, sir.
Does it normally stay down at the farm or does it stay at the house?
Both. Both.
See how he's got to change his position in his chair, and he moves around, when they're talking about the vehicles used that day. And Jessie Lynn said, great point. If he is found not guilty, a lot of the blame will be on how SLED handled this from the beginning, in my opinion. 100% agree.
Did Maggie ever walk down there?
Maggie walked down there a lot. But Paul, I mean, it would, if you showed me some proof that Paul walked down there that night, I would be surprised. Absolutely surprised.
Well, thinking about Paul's health concerns, do you think Maggie could have gotten him to walk that night? Say, come on, walk with me this one time.
You know, it's possible, but again, that would be highly, highly unusual. He would have talked her into ride. Been highly unusual for him to walk.
So when you were at the kennels, you were just down there with Paul. And you left and went back to the house again.
You know, I mean, Paul and I were just knocking around up at the shop, the shed, the kennels, just the whole property. And that was before dinner, yes, sir.
And you didn't go back down there after dinner until you returned trip from visiting your mother.
Yes, sir.
I'm super curious also, like how much of his dinner he ate, you know, if this was premeditated, which I think it was he even able to eat that night? Like everyone else was eating, we know from their stomach contents in the autopsy, but I'm curious exactly Alex's appetite that night.
That's it. Keep going.
I've got information that Paul was on time.
Had you confronted him with what you're about to ask him prior to this?
No, I had not.
And the question you had just asked him, did that deal with whether he went down to the kennels or not after supper?
Correct.
And he said he had not.
He had not.
And Maggie was heard in the background. And you were heard in the background. And that was prior to 9 p.m.
I heard Rogan Gibson asking me if I was up there. He said he thought it was me.
Was it you?
At 9 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Now here we have another example of him kind of stalling and buying himself more time. The detective says, was that you? And he says, you know, instead of just answering at 9 o'clock, you know, buying himself more time. Then no, sir, you know, with the politeness and overly polite. And yeah, I agree. Queen Olive said Alec was counting on his law enforcement friends to show up and believe everything he said. And you can actually see, you know, that's why they put the sheet on the bodies, you know, even though it was raining and that's not good to preserve evidence. You could see that they were saying, you know, like he the family's right there, so just cover him up. He's traumatized enough. Like that was said on the body cam footage. And then when he's being asked Paul's birthday, he kind of like hesitates and takes a minute to respond. And it's the same time that the officer's scanner is going off on his hip. And we kind of talked about this in the previous live stream that I felt, in my opinion, it seemed like he kind of stopped giving the birth date and like the answering of the questions to the officer because he was trying to like listen in on the scanner, which kind of goes with what you're saying, Queen Olive. You know, he was counting on his law enforcement friends showing up. Maybe he was listening to see, you know, what they were saying already, or maybe he was listening to see who was coming. I just felt like he was sort of trying to listen in on the scanner at the scene when he was being asked the questions. Julie said, why would she go down there, the kennels, if they were going to go visit his mother? Also, why would he take a nap when he was so concerned for his mother? He was so concerned, wouldn't he go right away? Right? The nap is just way too convenient, right? It's just every guilty person's excuse, probably. Oh, I was asleep. You know, it's the perfect alibi when you don't have an alibi, because when you're asleep, you're usually by yourself, you know. He doesn't need to rely on somebody else giving a statement and saying like, no, you were with me or he was with me. He held parties for law enforcement every year. He thinks they owe him. Oh, I'm sure. And I wonder if maybe on some level they felt like they did. And that's why and we talked about it in another live stream when we listened to the 911 call, when she says, are you in a house or are you in a mobile home? And he's like, a house. And he like screams it. Like, it almost made it seem like to me that he was like annoyed that at that point in the call, they still didn't know that it was him, AlexMurdaugh. Like he was thinking like, don't they know who I am?
Not if my times are right.
Who do you think it could have been?
I have no idea.
And Rogan's been around your family for pretty much all his life.
Oh, absolutely.
And he recognizes your voice, and you have a distinct voice. Do you think of anybody else that has a voice similar to yours that he may have misinterpreted?
No, sir. I mean, when we were talking, he had asked me that. So, he had told me that he thought I was up there.
Did that surprise you?
Yes, sir.
So when you return back to the kennels,
Now, here as a lawyer, I'd be like, I think we're done with the questions. Now, can you tell us what you guys have for this investigation at this point? And obviously we all want him to keep talking. And good morning, CDT. Good to see you. We want him to keep talking, and it's great that he does keep talking because he just keeps digging himself the hole deeper and deeper. But as like looking from like a lawyer's standpoint, it's like, I don't know, like, shouldn't he have like stepped in at this point? And I know you guys said that he does step in, and Alec decides to carry on with the conversation and handle it himself, because he's his own worst enemy. But I'm just curious, like, do you guys think that the lawyer should have stepped in, like, even at this point? Because he's pretty much being confronted with the fact that, like, yeah, your voice was on that Snapchat. You were at the crime scene.
return home from your mother's. Where were the dogs?
They were like they were when I didn't put dogs up.
Okay. So they weren't running loose.
However, they were.
Okay. At one point in the 911 call, you say here, like you're talking to somebody else or something else.
I say here?
Here, yes, sir.
Thank you, Tom.
The dispatcher is asking you.
I agree. Alex believes he is smart enough to talk around it. I agree. He should have stopped talking in the first interview, in my opinion. Yeah. And it's so hard. Like, yeah, he thinks he's the smartest man in the room. I agree. And good morning, Jesse, and everyone else who's joined.
That they're breathing, and you said no. And she asked, did you see anyone else in the area? And you said no. She asked about guns near them, and you said no. And then you kind of stutter and start moving around, and you say here.
It's everything you wished for. Your sight.
I don't have any memory of saying that. I guess I have to listen to it too. But I don't recall a dog being out. I'm certain that there was not a dog out. There's other things people told me about that 911 call that I don't remember. I don't know here. Like I was calling a dog.
Calling a dog, talking to somebody else. I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Obviously, there's nobody else out there. And I'm things on the internet that, just but nothing new, no sir.
during the 911 call, and we also talked about that that night, you returned back to the house to get shotgun.
Yes, sir.
What door did you enter?
The best that I can remember, I went in the side door, and I went straight to the gun cabinet.
Were you focused on any particular shotgun, or you just grabbed one?
I just grabbed one.
How do you normally load your shotguns? Avid hunters load shotguns special ways, different types of munitions, and I'm just asking you how you load yours.
I mean, I normally put it in the chamber and push the button.
What type of shot do you load?
All kinds. I mean, I load bird shot, buckshot, slugs, skeet shot
at the same time. I mean, would you load like a bird shot and a buckshot in the same load?
Not normally. I mean, normally you put it in, a load for whatever you're hunting.
Mm-hmm. The reason I'm asking about that, the shot shells that we recovered that night, one was a turkey load, one was buckshot.
I understood that.
The shotgun that you had with you that night, there was a bird shot and a buckshot. When Jeff went back the next day, I'm not sure which attorney it was, pointed out that there had been a shotgun laying on the pool table that he had put away, and pointed out that ammunition that was with that, and it was a buckshot and a bird shot. And then the shotgun that we took for potential comparison, it was also loaded with a bird shot and a buckshot. So I have all these consistent loads along with what's that in the feed room. I call it the feed room at the kennels. Is that what you call it?
That's good enough.
Okay. If I say feed room, I just want you to know what I'm talking about.
The night I grabbed the shells that I could get my hands on, I don't, I had no idea exactly what I had.
Okay. Also, when we talked, I asked you if it was normal to keep guns down at the kennels, and you said you have to check. Have you been able to check to see what was missing from your collection?
I have. Yes, I know what's missing from what I believe is missing from our guns.
Okay. And what are those?
There's 3 guns that I think are missing.
Okay. What kind of guns are those?
It would be a Benelli shotgun, a Browning shotgun, and a pump shotgun.
The Benelli and the Browning, are they pump or autos?
The Benelli and the Browning are automatic.
And the pump shotgun, what brand is that?
I believe it's a Remington, but I'm not positive.
Are they like standard brown and black, all black, or camo?
The Benelli is black, the Browning is camo, and the pump is camo.
Would you have those serial numbers recorded anywhere?
I don't have them recorded, but I'm sure. I don't know where the pump shotgun exactly came from, but I should be able to have the Benelli and the Browning.
Okay. Because we don't know if they're stolen or where they are, so I really can't get them entered into NCIC. But
go ahead.
But I could alert the ATF to where if that gun is run, that there would be an alert on it, and it would get me at least back to the gun and the person that may have had it.
Absolutely.
So if we can work on that and get those as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
You said Benelli's black, Browning's camo, and the pump is camo?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The Browning is a brown camo, and the pump is a green camo.
Now, at this point, does anybody know if he ever handed over that inventory list to the officers? Remember the first interview that he does in the night of the murders in the car, he's wearing the white t-shirt. He says, I can make you guys an inventory list if you need it. Second interview in the car, they ask him about the guns, etc. He gets uncomfortable again, and he pretty much says, like, y'all don't have an inventory list yet, or, something along the lines of that. So we know at that point, he still didn't give them an inventory list, and that was 3 days after the murders. Now here, Does anyone know if he ever handed over an inventory list? Okay, Holly Berry is saying I don't think he ever did. And again, if you're innocent and you want to help solve this, why not do everything you can? And if you're saying you're going to do something for the investigators and you don't do it, that's just another red flag, another piece of circumstantial evidence that could be used against him. Why didn't you do that? What are you hiding about the guns? Why won't you give us a written copy of everything that you have? And it's like he doesn't want that on paper. He doesn't want a paper trail of it. He just doesn't follow through, it seems, unless somebody knows of it happening. So now I want to listen to a little bit more of this, guys. I didn't realize the time. I did clip some pieces in the beginning of the stream. I was thinking for those who missed that, I would close out with that as well. If we listened a little bit more on this interview, it's quite long. So I want to listen to a little bit more with you guys. And then I was thinking of replaying those clips for those who didn't see it. If you guys want me to do that, let me know. But it's, I don't want to go too long here. So let me play this a little more.
And, I understand also that a 300 was used that night. And I know there's been some, I understand John Bedingfield said he only had 2 of those, one of which was lost. 3.
And these 300s that are lost or misplaced or unaccounted for, that was never, there was no paper trail even when those went missing. So we have no paper trail of the guns that were stolen or lost. We have no paper trail of Paul getting punched in the face, which was something that Alec kind of started spinning and putting those seeds out there from, day one at the crime scene. He's been getting threats. He's been punched, and we have no evidence of an assault on Paul, and we have no evidence of guns being stolen from this family. And he's a lawyer. It just doesn't make sense. All these things, even people who don't have the degree that he has would know, like, I need to make sure that I get this on record, that we're missing 2 300s, etc.
A long time ago, but I'm telling you now, I am certain that we replaced that gun. All right?
Actually, John knows that he sold Maggie a 3rd gun.
Okay.
And the story was that she was supposed to let you know that she paid for it for you to go sign the paperwork. And that never occurred.
Okay. So that's why it wasn't a number. Okay.
Well, he has the number. He just doesn't have a final sale on the ATF paperwork.
Okay. That was replacing the one that Paul
lost, yes.
That's correct.
And both of those 300s, those serial numbers are with the ATF and flagged in the system. So when they pop up, it'll get me to those. Okay. And that's, we've talked about the shot shells. So the cartridge casings were 300 blackout cartridge casings that were found by Maggie. There were also cartridge casings found by your house, by the side door to the gun room, and at the shooting range.
We're now asking about shell casings that were found by Maggie. That's Maggie's body, correct?
The cartridge casings found by Maggie, yes.
Had he ever been confronted with this information prior to right now that you know?
Not that I'm aware of. Okay. I believe he was, but not by me, I don't think.
There were also cartridge casings found by your house, by the side door to the gun room, and at the shooting range. And the ones by the house and some of the ones found at the shooting range are confirmed matches to the ones found by Maggie. Okay. So, which gets another concern. I've got the same load as the shot shells in multiple guns and 300 blackout that match like ones found on your property.
So you now believe that those guns, like Paul's guns, were used?
Yes.
Okay.
And missing.
And I understand somebody had seen that gun recently, but I believe that gun has been gone since back before Christmas.
No one recalls Paul's first 300 going missing around Halloween at a party at Hampton.
Halloween of 2020.
When did y'all?
No, that because that was
It was
years.
Yeah, it was whatever Christmas he got it. So 17, Christmas of 17. So it was the Halloween after in 18 is when Nolan believes it was taken out of Paul's truck. There was it would take me a while to find those notes, but Mark Williams or Matt Williams is a family friend. I may have the name wrong, but there was hundreds of people at this Halloween party. Nolan says adults were there, kids were there, and Nolan knows that a gun was in Paul's truck when they got to the party, and when they went to leave the party, it was gone. So that's the timeline on when that gun goes missing.
Okay. I knew it had been a while.
And I think in April of 19 is when April of 18.
This was the 16, January
Okay.
17 is when they did the.
Gotcha. Another part in the 911 call, you made the comment, I should have known. And the questioning that surrounded, the dispatcher's asking, is anybody else supposed to be at the house? And you said, no, ma'am, please hurry. And she says, we're getting somebody out there to you. And your next comment was, I should have known. What are you referencing in that statement?
I don't remember saying that, but I guess, all the threats and, I had been convinced it just was something to do with boat wreck and, all of.
And my thing is, like, here he's trying to explain, like, yes, I just knew right then it was because of the boat wreck, etc. But at the same time, it's like, what was I going to say? It's just way too soon for him to have come to that conclusion, knowing the fact that he never created a paper trail of saying Paul was assaulted and those guns were missing and stolen, but yet he goes immediately to, it was the boat wreck, I should have known. And here he's backing up, I just felt like it was that boat wreck stuff and, I should have known. It's like, right, you should have created a paper trail of these assaults and, Paul being targeted and stuff like that. It's just every time he says, he's lying. Nani says, take a shot every time he says, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And the rocking that he does in the chair is very similar to what he was doing earlier in the trial. So I was thinking, like I said, I'm going to play a few more minutes of this, and then I'm going to play the clips that I had edited together that have some highlights of this in it. And then we'll probably end the stream because I really don't like to go beyond an hour and a half.
Paul ever get physical with you? Ever get into a heated argument and get physical?
One time, a little bit where he wouldn't listen to me.
Did you ever get physical with him?
No, sir.
Talking about Maggie, did Paul get physical with Maggie?
Yeah.
So she probably wanted to at times.
I'm sure she wanted to with all of us.
Yeah.
And the one time Paul did that, he had too much to drink. In a very isolated incident.
Where was that? Was that at Moselle or Osto?
That was at Moselle.
So that was pretty recent?
No, sir. It had been a while.
When you turned Paul over and his cell phone popped out and you picked it up, and your statement was something like, I thought about doing something, but then I put it back down. And that was the interview, our first interview. What were your intentions with the phone?
I don't know. When I went up to him and the phone came out, I don't remember having intentions of doing anything with the phone.
now going back and talking about what we had talked about in chat, Jen Lou or whoever mentioned it, you know, he knew he was screwed once that text came in from Rogan, who Paul sent the Snapchat video to, because Rogan never got a response. He tried to contact Maggie saying, have Paul call me. Same with Alex. So pretty much it's like at this point, the whole timeline's screwed. And he's panicking. And at that point, he touches his phone. And that's why he mentions, like in the first interview, like I picked up his phone, but then I thought blah, blah, blah. And we all thought it was weird. And obviously the detective did too. So yeah, and exactly. Sarah P says, even Rogan, Paul's friend, said there weren't any serious threats. Yeah, nobody could come up with any. I think Blanca did say something. Didn't she say something on the stand about threats to Paul or something like that? Right. This is full lawyer mode saying, I don't remember in a non-committal answer. It's a way to avoid lying. Exactly. So it can't be used against him. And, you know, when he's talking about approaching Paul at the scene, I mean, look how comfortable he is. Like what father would be comfortable? It's like he's trying to stay calm and make it appear like I'm calm. I'm not panicking. They're asking me a question that I know I got to lie at. So I'm just going to sit here and look super comfortable. But he's discussing, you know, a horrific thing. And he's, you know, how are you not leaned over, like with your head in your hands or crying or just like, you know, because he's referencing the scene when he goes over to Paul and he grabs the phone. I just am so disturbed by like the way he's like sitting here and like talking about it. Like, I just want to rewind it. Good morning, Alex. It's good to see you. And thanks everyone for being here. Again, he won't answer till he learns something exactly, Jerry. So I'm going to replay this little scenario about the phone real quick, and then I think I'm going to play those clips now. So thank you, everybody, and I hope you like, for those who didn't see it, the clips that I'll be playing that have some of this interview in it with a little bit more of me breaking it down, and then his other interviews too. It's only like 7 minutes, and we'll close out with that.
When you turn Paul over and his cell phone popped out, and you pick it up, and your statement was something like, I thought about doing something, but then I put it back down. And that was the interview, our first interview. What were your intentions with the phone?
I don't know. I mean, when I went up to him and the phone came out, I don't remember having intentions of doing anything with the phone.
You say when I went up to him, the phone came out. Okay, thank you.
You got anything?
Going back when y'all ate dinner together after Miss Maggie got home and you and Paul got back from riding around. Can you estimate about how long y'all would have been at the dinner table or ate at the dinner table?
I mean, it wasn't any long drawn out dinner. You know, just.
I mean, a guess is, you said there was conversation at the dinner table, but.
15, 20 minutes. How long it takes to. Yes.
Okay. David asked you just earlier about when y'all were riding around the farm. And you said y'all had a pistol in the truck. Y'all shot a few times, really not target practice, shot a few times. You said that you had, on that day, you didn't see any long guns, rifles, or shotguns in the vehicle. Prior to that, how long prior to that do you recall seeing guns or any guns in that vehicle?
Oh,
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we're going over the AlexMurdaugh case, and we know that around 8:30 Paul's phone started heading towards the kennels. We also know that around 8:44 he sends a Snapchat video to his friend Rogan. And then by 8:49 Paul's phone goes silent forever.
Come here,
And what voices did you hear?
Paul's, Miss Maggie, Mr. Alec.
And how sure are you now?
Positive.
100%?
That's correct.
It looked like he had stolen.
It's clear that Alec committed some financial crimes, that we know, and it has been laid out very clear by the prosecution. But did he pull the trigger for both Maggie and Paul?
They're on the ground out at my kennel. Sir. Yes, sir. I went and got, this is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
You know, he's been getting like punched.
Do you see anyone in the area?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. He did it so bad.
The prosecution is claiming Alex says, I did him so bad. But the defense is saying he says they did him so bad. The problem is law enforcement didn't see anybody else in the area that night.
I don't see anybody.
When Alec repeats the question back to the investigator here, he stalls and buys himself more time to come up with an answer. Whether or not that means he's guilty, you let me know what you think.
Did you kill Maggie?
No. Did I kill my wife?
Yes, sir.
No, David.
Do you know who did?
No, I do not know who did.
Did you kill Paul?
No, I did not kill Paul.
Do you know who did?
No, sir, I do not know who did. Do you think I killed Maggie?
I have to go where the evidence and the facts
I
take me.
understand that. And you think I killed Paul?
I have to go where the evidence and the facts take me, and I don't have anything that points to anybody else at this time.
So does that mean that I am a suspect?
You were still in, like I told Corey earlier, you were still in this. With everything that we've talked about, with the family guns, the ammunition, nobody else's DNA. I have to put my beliefs aside and go with the facts.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why there's 300 blackout. I'm trying to figure out why there's so many shell casings, but only one gunshot went to the back of each head. Not my job to figure that out. I'm just curious.
Alex says that the dogs were how they were when he got there, the same as when law enforcement got here. However, law enforcement claims that on the 911 call, they can hear him calling a dog over, saying, here.
When you return home from your mom's, where were the dogs?
They were like they were when I didn't put dogs up.
Okay.
So
they weren't running loose?
However they were.
Okay. At one point in the 911 call, you say here, like you're talking to somebody else or something else.
I say here?
Here, yes, sir. So the dispatcher is asking you if they're breathing, and you said no. And she asked did you see anyone else in the area, and you said no. She asked about guns near them, and you said no. And then you kind of stutter and start moving around, and you said here.
just saying that. I guess I'd have to listen to it to, but I don't recall the dog being out. I'm certain that there was not a dog out.
Is there any guns near them at all?
No, there's here. No, there's here.
We see on camera that all the dogs were in their kennels when they got there. So was he corralling them when he was on the phone with 911? If so, then why didn't he just tell the investigators that when he got there? Instead, he claims they were all in the kennels the same way that they were when the first responders arrived. Just another example of Alex's contradictions and conflicting statements.
Lord, I didn't put dogs up.
Okay. So they weren't running loose.
However they were.
Okay.
And one more time. You can actually hear in this 911 call when the operator asks him, "Are you sure they're not breathing?" He doesn't even respond to her. In fact, you can almost hear as if he's texting or fiddling with his phone while she's asking these questions. Listen and let me know what you think.
And you sure they're not breathing? Is he moving at all, your son? I know you said that she was shot, but what about your son?
They're not, neither one of them's moving.
What is your telephone number? And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really, no, ma'am. Oh, man. Oh.
The date is going to be May 6, 2020.
So sorry, I just want to close out. I didn't realize that I wasn't added to the stream. So no, all I was saying was thank you for the compliments, guys. I'm going to close out with this digital information again. And I just was saying shout out to Decipher Podcast and Duty Ron. Their live streams were really good last night on this case, and I watched them to review. And I hope to see you guys in some live chats this week on CDT's channel and Alex Erickson's and other channels in the chat today. I will float around and kind of chat in their discussions too. So I hope I see you guys there, and we'll be talking soon. I'm thinking about going live possibly on Friday with some of the stuff that the defense presents this week and tomorrow. So I was just curious, Decipher Podcast, Crime Sleuthin'. So Duty Ron and the Decipher Podcast had really good streams on this case that I watched last night. There's a bunch of other streams that do really good too, but Yes. So I'll see you guys soon. We'll probably go live Monday or Friday morning. So I hope to see you guys then. Check the community page because I'll sometimes post stuff there during the week also. So thanks again, everybody.
At 10:52:13 a.m.
And what does it say?
It says, I am still an EB because when you get here, we need to talk. Mom found several bags of pills in your computer bag. And this is again from Paul to Alex on May 6th. So this is going to be Google searches. Far left, you're going to have a timestamp. The source, which is going to be Safari, that's for Apple. And then the value is going to be the searched item. And on May 26, 2021 at 11:21 p.m., Maggie searched green gel pill P30. She also searched 11:20 p.m. Green gel pill P30, white pill 30 on one side RP. And if you look to the right, you're going to see a column that says deleted. That one is showing yes has been deleted. And then if we go down to row number 4, it's going to be May 6, 2021 from Safari, white pill 30 on one side RP, and that's also shown deleted.